want mine with sauerkraut? So I'll have mine with sauerkraut.
You got it.
Look at how loose it is.
This is very hot, by the way.
Ooh, I was thinking,
Whoa.
I never get any
You took
sympathy.
it right out of boiling water?
Oh, there you go. Thank you. I feel so low. So we did the big thing. Got it bent. So we got a bunch of holes we have to fill up with tacks. So to make this stay together. So this will take a minute. So I do this so you can see as much as you possibly can. I'm going to take one tack and just stand it up. Now these tacks are tiny. They're called 1.5. So I mean they're really, really small. So to hold that in 2 fingers and tack it in is going to be not going to work. So, but if the wood is punky, it's wet. So I can take that tack and push it in with my thumb and get it so it's going to stand up pretty well. And it's just like a golf tee. I mean, it's standing right there. So I can actually then, by doing that, be able to take a couple of whacks at it and give it a pretty good shot at the end, just to make sure the thing does bend over when it hits that plate in the back there. And we're doing this pretty much the same way the Shakers did it. They didn't have an electric hot plate. I want to clear that up. But they did. But this is the same. You know, this is the way it was done. And
Is the wood cut in the carpenter shop for you?
to cut the wood, we actually buy it like this. We buy it like this, and then we put these swallowtails on ourselves. So I'll explain the swallowtail in a second.
Actually, made a hammer.
Yeah, we've got one.
Yeah, a little tack hammer.
Yeah, I hate it. I can't. We've got one over there.
Yeah, but it lets you, but it's more of the way it's designed. It's meant. See how we drop it, and it helps you drop it in place.
Okay, so what we did is we took this piece of wet wood, we bent it onto the form, and this is what we have right now. So this is called a side band, or one of the side bands. We got this all set to go. Now the form here is actually a solid piece of wood. I cut it in half, put a hinge on it. This is not my idea. I just changed it a little bit. And this is part of an electric plate, or electric box. But by having this expander in here with a hinge, I can make the whole thing smaller to draw the thing out. So now what we have to do is make the outside piece here. Let me just say one more thing. Every box has these things called swallowtails. And what the swallowtail does is, this wood right here that's been cooking all this time has expanded. And expanded not this way, but this way. I'm exaggerating by a lot here, okay? So if I put tacks in, when the wood dries, comes back, if I don't have the swallowtails, the wood might bubble up. Here's a good example. Here's what happens. You'll see this or not. This is these were throwaway things you use in the barn. But without the swallowtail here, this wood had the tacks in it. It contracted back. When it did that, it had no place to go, so it got this bubbling, this checking, which is very unshaker. It's not anything like that. So, we're going to do the next piece now. The next thing we're going to do is do this piece, but I'm going to bend it on here because this has to be an exact fit to this bottom. You can't. People say, why don't you just make 100 of these things, have them in a box and put them all on? But it doesn't work that way. This is going to fit that box. There might be some interchangeability. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this bend it on here, I'm gonna mark the side, and then I'm gonna actually tack it onto this anvil over here. And I think this will make sense when I do it. And the key too is, that maybe you've noticed, is when you do the bending, you've got to do the bending right away. This is not something that, because the wood cools down a little bit, it will break. And we don't want to break the wood. It's not cheap. I'm just going to mark this, taking this a couple of times here. And then I'll take this off without letting this pop. I don't want it to pop open. I'll match up my pencil mark here. And I'm going to tack it over here. You know it's homemade if it has a flaw? There's the flaw. But that's a fix for another day. We're not gonna worry about that right now.
What's the floor?
The tack, the tack just fell over. I'm not gonna mess around with it now. So the top fits on pretty snugly. We're gonna let this dry for a couple of days, but as it dries, I wanna make sure that this becomes an oval box. I don't want it to have its own mind and do something else. So to train it, I'm gonna put a couple of these in here. These are just holders that will force the box into a good oval shape, and that'll hold it that way for a couple of days. I'll just pass it on. So what that's going to be, I'm almost done here. When we get done at that stage, this is the one I did last time I was here. I'm here Tuesdays and Thursdays. It is. Tuesday. If my watch didn't have on here what day of the week it was,
We understand.
but the next step to this is to take these things off, and that's what I'll do with this box next time. And then to make a bottom and a top. And that's going to be done by taking, and I'll show you this box here, it's a good example. We'll take some pine for the bottom piece, and I'm switching up wood here, but you'll get the idea. I'll put this over and I'll trace this out with a pencil or a pen inside, and I'll cut this out. And what I'm looking for is to ultimately end up with a piece like this that's going to fit into the bottom snugly. And we'll do the same thing for the top. This piece will go into the top here. And once that's done, and that's ran with these boxes, these I just got to put these in, what I'll do is I'll drill some holes around the perimeter, I'll nail in some brads, which is like a tack without a head on it. I'll nail those in, and we'll be in business. We've got
Why not glue?
very unshakers to use everything's a tack. A tack's
Traditional.
This needs a little help. Yeah. One last thing I will mention too is that these boxes are almost identical. This one has been done for some time, and it's got 3 coats of shellac on it. This one is still under works. It's I kind of finished it a little while ago, but it needs some more. But this has no shellac on it, so putting a couple of layers of shellac on really does a nice job. It shines it up, protects the wood, does a pretty good job with it. So that's my short story.
So when you do